Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody, welcome to TFT Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Mr. O.
and me, Banshee. And this is your Weird Week. Welcome to it. Well, after careful deliberation, we decided to focus on one thing that we feel the cards kind of matched up pretty closely to in the last week. And, there's a lot of world issues going on. There was, and of course the Israeli, Gaza, Palestinian, Hamas issue is very, very difficult, not just in those countries, worldwide. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of side taking, all kinds of things. But we decided this really did match what was going on in the U.S. Congress pretty closely. Our cards from last week. A house divided, absolutely. So let's recap that, shall we?
We're going to recap that.
What was the first card, Mr.
So the first card was the Emperor reversed, and it fell into the position of our major focus, our theme, our tone. And of course, that card was pulled from the Twin Tarot Oracle deck.
Yes. And, the Emperor reversed is kind of a malevolent leader, or malevolent leadership, let's just say. And right now, the house is bereft of leaders, number one. But also, number two, there's just all these power struggles going on. Some people have argued, are we really going to let 9 members, run the entire house and, keep the house divided like this, do this to America? Well, apparently so. That's what happened last week because they couldn't agree on a speaker. Steve Scalise had won the initial vote, not by enough, for them to put his name forward as the leader, but he realized pretty soon on he was never going to change hearts and minds, and so he bowed out.
We're kind of dealing with a group of people who don't really trust each other.
Right.
And they're not considering each other as a really honest partner.
And the Democrats want them to figure it out for themselves, which to me, has its pluses and minuses. Democrats, maybe should they be trying to do more to work a coalition to get the government moving, because this is affecting people. This isn't, we shouldn't be using this situation on either side to collect political brownie points. We really should be thinking about how this is hurting our country, in the world's eyes and also in people's eyes.
This lack of cohesion and or actual functionality, it kind of falls into the domain of the Emperor reverse when you just don't really trust who you should take counsel from.
Exactly. And so let's move on. Now it looks like, the 9 who want somebody very hardline and conservative in there have it in Jim Jordan. But as the week wore on, I think they began to realize Jim Jordan was going to have to try to muster up votes that he does not have either.
Right. He is not very well respected either by the entire cohort of Republicans.
So Congress is at a quagmire, and they recessed for the weekend.
So is this what we found out, though, that the house is not so well built, that even though it is functional, there are some things that maybe are attacking that structure?
Are you talking about card 2?
Card 2, the 4 of Wands reversed.
Yes, and then
we'll find out.
Note or see. And what we see is they've clearly got more work to do to try to get a leader nominated, and there's different rumblings back and forth. I'm not going to get into that yet, but, as we go further here, but I think that it's saying, like you said, the foundation is weak. It's showing how shaky our government is, with the way, like I said, a very small minority can hold up the entire workings of our government.
Exactly.
Card 3. The Sun was reversed, but this is the card that we read both sides. It's what other perspectives need to be considered, and it's done with the Tarot of Oppositions, which really, takes in both sides of the card into account.
Right. We could look at both sides separately or somewhat equally, or we could also look at that range in between and see whether or not any of those points there also fit it. So with the Sun reversed,
Well, with the sun reversed, some people might be happy. I mean, I think that it's a happy, sad situation here because, there weren't enough people happy with Steve Scalise. There weren't enough people happy with Jim Jordan that maybe ultimately what we found out or saw that it might be a good thing that this still didn't come down to a vote because nobody would win.
Well, to me, the sun reversed is not necessarily the direct opposite of the sun. So when I look at this, I feel like both Democrats and Republicans can sort of feel a little bit like they like what happened here because in each way, maybe to some degree, differing strengths, it serves their agendas. The Democrats don't really want to be helping out the Republicans at this point. They just sort of want them to figure it out. And the Republicans are not going to necessarily cede any power to the Democrats.
Well, both parties, even if they do want to work together, they're too worried about looking weak to their constituents. They got to be tough. They got to hang tough. They're not going to cave. And this does not bode well for compromise or getting, agreement on legislation that will be up and coming. Something has to give here. Card 4.
Card 4 is the Two of Cups upright, and it's from the Healing Light Tarot. What is the overall impact?
Well, the overall impact is that alliance. I think that both sides realize that, first off, they don't have enough votes. The Dems don't have enough votes to get Jeffries in, which is who they would, vote for their own party leader in the House. And the Republicans don't have the votes for either of the two people that, were running. Now there's a third person who has entered from, is it Georgia? Scalise's gone, so let's say there's a second person who entered from Georgia, I believe, who is a little bit more of a moderate Republican. So it's hard to say if they could muster the votes or try to do something here. But of course, it's going to possibly take votes away from Jordan, which means he won't get the nomination.
Well, the Two of Cups looks like it's supposed to be the idea of a beautiful partnership or relationship right. Founding. And certainly the overall impact would said to be each of these interested parties want that to happen. They want to see, or they want their constituents or whoever to see.
That they can come together.
Or Jordan coming together. They want to see that, but it's not really what is being seen. It's just the impact on what their actions want to be.
Well, I also think the overall impact might be is that because things are so divided, maybe there actually could be some movement to the middle. There is talk that some Republicans are, having talks, just very preliminary talks with Democrats of trying to figure out what both sides would need to come to an agreement on a speaker.
Yes, I've heard this too, and there's, of course, a number of theories about who that person could be that would be, thrown out there. It'll be interesting to see that.
So what could win or not the weird week last week? What won it or not? We say it's a big no. No win. It was the Three of Pentacles reversed, and that was the Global Fusion Tarot.
Intuitive Tarot.
Intuitive Tarot, thank you. And basically, nobody could pull their teams together. Nobody could pull enough people together to agree to work together on a solution.
Nobody wanted to work together in teams or not.
So that's where we stand, as far as Congress goes. So we don't know if the cards for this week will focus on the escalating war, in Gaza that Israel is waging right now, or, if it'll focus on this or some other issues. How about we get started?
Indeed.
All right. We're going to start with my
Twin Tarot Oracle deck as we seek to find what is the major focus theme or tone for this week?
And for that, we use this double Major Arcana Oracle, which has an upright version of the Major Arcana and a reversed version of the Major Arcana. All right. I'll pick them up. Oh, I will. I will.
Right. And you might as well try to show it under the camera too.
I will. Oh, well, I could have put it there. By pulling from the top, and lo and behold, it is the star reversed.
Star reversed.
Yeah.
The overall tone.
She looks kind of sadly contemplative here.
And that's a lot of us, to put it mildly.
That is a lot of us. What the heck is going on with the world, is going on with all these things? We're feeling the pessimism, we're feeling worried, we're nervous, we're anxious, and we fear for the future.
Whatever it is, whether it's, the ongoing bargaining with striking people, and the dangers the economy takes during that process.
Let's not forget that.
Or whether it's some of the most recent things happening with global climate change, literally the bottom of ice falling out from the largest, glacial areas in Antarctica, or what's going on in our Congress, or what's going on with the wars in multiple fronts now. There's a great degree of pessimism or hopelessness.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know that I can add anything to that at the moment. Let's move on to card 2.
So we're taking that from the Secrets Tarot, and the position is, what are the mysteries that we can possibly find out? What mysteries or things will we see? Maybe giving us some insight.
Maybe.
As we know it.
I don't know. This world keeps getting crazier. But let's all just try to take a deep breath, relax, and, hope that people start working together again. Oh.
It's the 5 of Swords.
I was afraid of that.
It's upright. The 5 of Swords tells us that what we'll find out is that there still are a lot of people who feel like they need to fight this like it's a bitter war. They have to be right. They have to be in the forefront. And of course, this applies to so many of the situations that we just briefly mentioned, whether it's Israel, Gaza, or Russia, Ukraine, or what's going on in the American House of Representatives. It's like it's a siege mentality.
It's no wonder people feel anxious and a lot of anxiety here, because basically what we are finding out and seeing is a lot of infighting, bickering, nobody getting along, a lot of anger. We see this in our day-to-day lives, more road rage incidents, more people out of control at sporting events or various gatherings, civil disorder. We just seem to be in a bad place right now. And, if we look at what's going on in Congress, and we look at what's going on with Israel and Hamas, the Palestinians, etc., we really have some difficult conflicts, that we can't seem to overcome.
It's kind of like what I just said a few moments ago. It's a siege mentality. Right. Everybody thinks they have to win or else the worst will happen. And I sort of feel like, not with every single human being, but I feel like these effects are causing people to internalize the fact that their lives are possibly risk-worthy here. It's the idea that maybe there's some sort of spiritual mad cow disease, and that some of us are eating ourselves. We're eating ourselves.
My goodness. Okay.
I'm getting too creepy?
A little bit. It is Halloween, I'll give you that. But
we should move on to the next card.
No, we should not, because I have a question for you.
You do?
I do. So, Mr. O, everybody wants a win. So what does that mean?
Nobody wants to lose.
No one wins in this situation. Yeah. No one wins. Israel got, whatever happens in the Middle East, I don't know that there's going to be any winners that come out of this. Israel is not looking good, pummeling a lot of innocent people. And I know there's terrorists there. I know that. But, a lot of innocent people, like on the Israeli side, are getting hurt and more. And so the same with Israel. They hurt, on all ends. They may look bad politically. This war might enlarge to something that they don't want to happen. It's just a big mess. And if we look at Congress, nobody is winning there either. I can't imagine, even in the Republican Party, that people are very happy about the situation, whatever side they're on. They want somebody put in power, and it's not happening.
Well, like I was saying, I agree with you, but, nobody wants to lose, and that means that people will rationalize their actions, whether it's incredible force or disproportionate force or lies or anything else.
Well, true that, Mr. O. What's next?
Well, we need to find out what other perspectives should be considered, and so for that, we use the Tarot of Oppositions. It's a jointly owned deck. We both own it, or an interest in it. So we will shuffle it each. I wanted you to kind of pick it up here a little bit. Not the card I dropped either.
We will each shuffle the cards and take it from there. It is a shared deck, sort of. I don't use it as much, but I would like perhaps.
It's similar to the Twin Tarot in the sense that on each card there is an idea about its opposite or upright meaning.
Well, on each card, that's the difference. This one has separate cards for the upright and reverse. This, like a normal tarot deck, has cards that have an upright reversed interpretation, but they're meant to be read together, which is why half the card is upright and half the card has an image representing the reversal.
You're encouraged to possibly consider that there's a moderate or liminal area that maybe draws from both but is neither wholly one or the other, or maybe per the context and our own intuition that it is more one than the other. But always there should be some aspect of its opposite meaning.
What he said.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
what other factors need to be considered?
Perspectives.
Either way.
And it's...
not happy.
It's the Three of Swords.
Upright.
It is upright, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I know, because she's unhappier.
Yep.
So the perspectives that need to be considered are arranged from the idea that some people feel healing really needs to happen, but more likely some people feel there's too much pain here and that maybe there's no healing.
Well, what other factors need to be considered is that this is painful for all sides. This could be talking about the Israel-Gaza situation in a way, because that's pretty brutal, when I think about it. And so is that. I mean, the Five of Swords is like war.
Mm-hmm.
So very much fits what's going on there. There is pain and healing needs to occur. Healing needs to occur in the worst way. And how do you heal after a situation like this? I don't know. The
Three of Swords also speaks about separations, and we know that so many people are becoming refugees over this, being forced to move or having been kidnapped and are now
the hostages. Yeah.
So there's a lot of separation and severe heartache and heartbreak.
So I can definitely see why this fits that situation so far. So something may escalate or, happen. We'll just have to see which way the cards are leaning with this war that's significant next week. So let's see, we've got card 4, and that is my Healing Light Tarot that will tell us what the overall impact of all of this will be. Oh, why it keeps doing that. Anyway. Oh, give us some healing light. Healing light tarot. What is the overall impact? It's the moon reversed. Ah, why is that all the way over there?
I need that space in the middle.
Why? Okay.
For the same reasons every week, because the fifth card goes sort of...
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I getcha. Okay, the overall impact. It's the moon reversed. And, you know, it's not necessarily a bad card, but I don't know what I'm supposed to make of it. It seems as though there's going to be some major revelations, you know, that things that are coming to the light of day, things surface, you know, that we need to know. Could be secrets revealed, but it's more likely just some big news item, don't you think?
Well, I'm going to lean more towards the idea that it is possibly secrets, and it could be state secrets, especially if we're talking about all of the big trouble with Israel and Hamas, because we know that for some reason Israel seemed to ignore warnings that came from two or more sources saying this is going to happen. And so that does call some questions to need to be accounted about what the actual motivations or what the actual situations may have been going towards. But beyond that...
Well, we may find out or see about more troop movements or more things happening, other alliances being formed. I've heard, you know, that Hezbollah has said that they are ready to assist, you know, the Hamas in this battle. And it could bring in Iran. Saudi is now putting the peace deal with Israel on hold for now, tabling it. And so there's a lot at stake, and there's a lot of things that maybe could come out next week.
Well, that's big for sure. But then when you think about the machinations that go on in secret in our government,
sure,
this could also apply to that too, that we may find out that there's been some finagling that will, you know, fix the problem or give, you know, another layer to the problem.
This is all very scary stuff.
Indeed.
So let's see. We're on our fifth card already. Wow.
What could or could not win the weird week? What kind of strategies or outcomes or situations could arise or become central to this overall, you know, alignment of factors that's going on in our reading here? And right now it does seem like it is mostly pertaining to the situation with the war in Israel.
It does.
But there's still some other possibilities. So
that could be the strike, but you know, some of these other things, some of the cards are pretty harsh for that.
Once again, using the Global Fusion Intuitive Tarot.
It's reversed, isn't it?
It's the reversed Five of Pentacles.
Wow.
That's the Five of Diamonds, see?
Yeah. And I see the pentacles there.
So I put that one down there. It's what could win the weird week. And you know what? It looks like what could win the weird week is somebody figures out a way to bring people together into a situation of light, i.e. a situation of maybe knowledge and trust.
Healing.
Or healing. Bringing people on the same table somehow, just sort of aligning disparate forces with the commonalities that are present here, especially if this is, you know, the suffering going on over in the Middle East or anywhere, really.
Maybe somebody, you know, or some government, etc., alleviates some of the suffering of the Palestinians. I have heard that Egypt has now opened a passageway for them to, retreat to. So there is some place that they can evacuate to. It's finding community again, or pulling people together, feeling a part of something. So I'm wondering if this isn't some sort of peace talks. I know Egypt was wanting and willing to host some peace talks between both sides. There may be other things that come into play here, some diplomacy that's going on that's trying to bring people to the table. So, I don't know. Maybe it's hopeful. I like that ending. I can't believe, everything's going to suddenly stop in a week. But
if I'm looking, though, at what's going on with Speaker of House issues, it could be saying, too, that maybe the breakdown occurs and that more Republicans decide they're just going to support the status quo that seems to be there for them.
So are you switching to that one now as a possibility?
Well, I'm just saying that if it was a possibility, that's how I think it would play out. I don't think it would play out the same way. I think it would just sort of be people capitulating rather than coming together.
I'm not going to rule out that this isn't the strikes, or even maybe the actors' strike being settled, or if this is something to do with Congress, or, like I said, the war. To me, I'm focusing on the war because some of these cards are very harsh cards. They're almost harsher than I feel the rift between UAW and corporate now, although I do feel it can be pretty close. And Congress, it could be, because there's a lot of kind of crazy energy, in Congress right now. And there are people who are acting out in a big way. So could there be fisticuffs? Could there be something not kosher going on? And then finally people deciding, hey, we got to stop this insanity and come together.
Well, I think it's one of the two. I think it's either the Middle East situation, or I think it is our foibles in the House.
So let's take a look at this again and try to wrap it up. Let's see here. So we've got the star in the beginning reversed, which indicates people are very pessimistic. People are very worried and anxious and afraid of what's going to happen.
It's a lack of
what the
hope.
Future holds. It's a lack of hope. We will find out or see.
It's the Five of Swords, and that sort of weights our idea towards this being about the war in the Middle East. This is really struggle. This card has nothing
conflict.
Right, it's conflict and it's aggression. Oh my God, we're reading each other's minds.
Yes.
But so I think what we'll find out is that somebody is really going to be going all out to trying to be the victor. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody will.
Nobody wants to lose, but everybody will with that attitude.
You got it.
So finally, card 3 is what other factors need to, or what other things need to be considered. Is that right?
Yeah,
yes.
The other perspectives.
Other perspectives.
And from the Tarot of Oppositions, we have that reversed, but still not exactly reversed, Three of Swords. And so there is a sense here really of separations and severe pain, heartache, heartbreak. But there's also a sense that maybe things could be healed, or that there are people who are trying to work on the healing. And once again, I think this could be talking about solutions that are trying to come up in terms of Gaza-Israel situation.
There's a lot of pain here, and some people who want to heal. However, it's hard to find your way through the pain. There are so many people who are maybe focusing on the pain of the situation. They can't get to that point of healing, and that's hard. And that could go with Congress too, where people are just too afraid to work together, and heal the rifts between them. It's almost as if it's easier for them to stay in their little tribes and suffer rather than try to heal the rifts that divide them. And card 4 is
from the Healing Light Tarot, the overall impact.
Yes.
And we had the Moon reversed.
I think that something's going to come to light, some knowledge, some revelations, some big news of some sort that may be a surprise or maybe something that some people have expected all along, or deduced would happen. It's hard to say.
When you consider that it's the overall impact, you almost feel like somebody is really damned if they don't reveal this information. Like the overall impact says somebody's got to cough up what they know. And that this is possibly what's going to happen here, is that something will be revealed that may change a big understanding or a big way that we are relating to, whether it's the Israel thing or whether it's related to our house or all the other situations that we think it could possibly be on. We're thinking it's those first two, though, in some measure.
And ultimately, well, what could win the weird week is if there is healing, if we can get to the point, where we can accept healing, where we can come together as opposed to, to just separate from each other. So this could be a diplomatic maneuver to try to resolve what's going on, in the Middle East. It could be an olive branch, to the Democrats or the warring factions in the Republican Party to try to get them to come together and agree on something so they just don't look like the U.S. is ungovernable anymore.
It's hard to say.
It is very hard to say.
Next week, our special friend Hindsight will be here.
That's funny, Mr. O. That's almost funny. If it wasn't all such serious business right now, but there are a lot of serious issues we are dealing with in the world right now. And, without coming together, without being able to find, that common ground, it's going to be hard to achieve workable solutions. Well, stay tuned, everybody, and we're just going to have to see, like I say, how these cards will play out in the week ahead. And until we meet again for another episode of Your Weird Week. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Hang in there. Bye.
Bye.